Hey, welcome to another edition of On the One and Done. This is a new show that celebrates the greatest funk songs ever created. Please be sure to like, comment, and share the show, and set your notifications so as to never miss a video. Thank you very much for your interest and support. I'm your tour guide for this affair, Scott, Dr. Jakes Goldfine, lifelong funkateer, DJ, music journalist, author of Everything's on the One, The First Guide to Funk, and also producer of the Truth and Rhythm and Where'd You Get Your Funk From podcasts. In this episode, we are going to be jamming Zapp's 1980 epic More Bounce to the Ounce. We'll check out a live version so we can see the band doing their thing and also make it less likely for YouTube's algorithm to block the video due to copyright. Support the artists and musicians in this episode and all Funk and Stuff programming by purchasing their recordings. You can use a convenient link in the description to do so. And if they're still performing, get out to those shows. The mission of On the One and Done is to review, analyze, and especially appreciate this amazing music, and in doing so, educate, evaluate, lend insights, and stimulate comment on the songs and artists. So, thanks to the negative impacts of both disco's rise and the eventual backlash effect that had to funk music and bands, with a new decade dawning in the early 80s, the genre's popularity, support, and vitality became more tenuous as the 1980s commenced. I'm talking about funk as a genre. However, there remained some holdovers that continued to champion and perpetuate legitimate funk, as well as a handful of new acts that emerged to carry the torch. One of the latter to do this was Zapp, which was led by the multi-talented Roger Troutman. This ferocious track ushered in several years of Zapp's parade of talkbox-based funkathons. And here's a set. I have all the vinyl, of course, but this set puts together the first three Zapp albums, so you can't go wrong with this collection. Highly recommend it. Let's do it now on the One and Done to Zapp's More Bounce to the Ounce.
Coming here to party tonight.
Hell yeah.
Well, let's get busy, y'all.
Tell him, Roger. The pride of Dayton, Ohio, baby. Yeah. It was Roger Troutman's longtime friend, Bootsy Collins, who got him in with major record labels, as each had promised the other that whoever succeeded first would reach back to help the other one. Bootsy, of course, was a superstar and growing legend by then. He co-produced Zapp's debut album. According to Bootsy, George Dr. Funkenstein Clinton visited the studio during the recording sessions, and it was his input that led to the creation of More Bounce, which would become one of the most influential funk and hip-hop tracks of all time. Its electronic vocals, which Roger could be heard providing a few years earlier on Sun's great hit, Wanna Make Love Come Flick My Bick, served as a stylistic template for all subsequent Zapp and Roger releases. The 9.5-minute studio version of More Bounce to the Ounce hit number 2 on the R&B chart. Other incredible tracks during ensuing years for Roger and Zapp included So Rough, So Tough, Dance Floor, Heartbreaker, I Can Make You Dance, California Love, and the mellow Computer Love. Maybe we'll hit some of those in future episodes. Let's get back to bouncing with More Bounce and Roger and Zapp and his Troutman brothers. Here's Ollie right here at On the One and Done. And funkin' stuff.
Or maybe the party is over here. Over here.
Over here.
Over here. Over here. I proclaim
The rhythm guitar. Wicked.
number one KDL party is over. The real party is over.
All right, let's talk about who's on this thing. Looking at Danny Bedrosian's book, the P-Funk catalog. Of course, Roger on the talk box and vocals. Drums, Lester Troutman. Hand clap boards and tambourine, Carl Butch Small. Carl Butch Small, the great P-Funk percussionist who's been on so many Funkadelic tracks and was also a guest on Truth and Rhythm, so make sure you check that out. On guitar, Roger Troutman and Bootsy. This is, of course, in the studio version. And keyboards, Roger Troutman and Greg Jackson, longtime member of Zapp, who still performs with the Zapp anthology nowadays. And on bass, Zapp Troutman. According to Danny, his note here says, More Bounce to the Ounce was the most important single in the Zapp Rogers story. It solidified their sound and brought them onto the charts. George Clinton actually made the song, as I was saying before, by looping what was originally a more complex song that had many sections that made the song not work as well. Said Clinton, there are several testimonies to George Clinton's idea to loop the tape, thus creating the pulse that would end up being the entire backbone of the sound of Zapp. This is a story that both has not been told often and also ties Zapp to P-Funk inextricably. All right, thank you for that, Mr. Bedrosian. Let's get back to jamming.
The party is over there. All right, I want everybody over here to show them how to party. Sing along. Say yeah, yeah, yeah. Say yeah, yeah, yeah. Wait a minute. No. I made a bad mistake. Y'all don't want to party? Y'all sound like a bunch of taxi cab drivers. Y'all don't want to party? I'm going where the real party's at.
Roger was quite a showman.
Goodbye. Is this what a party's at?
Yeah, clowning them, y'all.
When everybody makes some noise and show the cab drivers how to party. Say yeah, yeah, yeah. Say yeah, yeah, yeah. Say yeah, yeah, yeah. Wait a minute.
Shit out.
This ain't no party. You trying to trick me? I know where the real party's at. You can't make me stay over here. Goodbye. Is this what a party's at? Is this what a party's at?
Oh, he's right here. I keep trying to tell you. You know, according to Wikipedia, More Bounce was the inspiration behind the Tom Tom Club's 1981 hit Genius of Love, itself one of the most sampled tracks of the New Wave era. Quote, we loved More Bounce in part because it was played at a slower, funkier tempo by far than so many other dance tracks of the period, said Tom Tom Club's Chris France, also a member of the Talking Heads, of course. He goes on, it was very relaxed and sexy while still maintaining a raw, hard edge. The song has been sampled many times by numerous hip-hop artists. Notable examples include You Got to Chill by EPMD in 1988 and 1997, Friday by Ice Cube in 1995, Going Back to Cali by the Notorious B.I.G. in 1997, and Ain't No Future in Yo Frontin' by MC Breed and DFC in 1991. Let's get back to it. Gonna knock it back a hair and we'll ride this groove out, baby.
Is this what a party's at? Is this what a party's at?
Locked in and holding it down, man.
Goodbye. Is this what a party's at? Come on, y'all. Say yeah, yeah, yeah. Say yeah, yeah, yeah. Say shake your booty, shake your booty. Shake your booty, shake your booty now. Now somebody, 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 somebody say.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm going to be bouncing all day long after that. More bounce is the kind of groove that you could just, live your life to. Just have it going all the time. And I'll tell you, in the 80s, it felt that way with how much you heard it coming out of rides, at clubs, everywhere, radio, every hour. More bounce. What a huge track. And actually, I don't think I mentioned, but in Everything's on the One, More Bounce comes in on the all-time list at number 21. So there you have it, Zapp hails from the funk hotbed known as Dayton, Ohio, with an original lineup that included 4 Troutman brothers, Roger, Lester, Terry, and along with several other members, including Janetta Warren, who I interviewed on Truth and Rhythm podcast, so be sure to check that out. She also has a book on her time with Zapp, so check that out too. There are some dark stories around the group concerning a falling out with George Clinton in 1980 with the record label, and 2003 with a murder-suicide involving Roger and Larry Troutman. But fortunately for all of us, this fantastic music lives on. I saw Roger and the band perform several times during the 1980s, and he was a great guitar player and one of the top showmen of the era. You could really see his showmanship in that video. Although he's not playing guitar there, he could shred on guitar. He would typically be brought to the stage from the back of the concert hall, riding the shoulders of a bodyguard while jamming his guitar all the while, and then eventually hopping on stage to deliver amazing, energetic shows. It was something else to see. No one quite like Roger Troutman. 2 different versions of the group continue to tour today, keeping the legacy alive. Remaining Troutman family tours as Zapp, and as I mentioned before, Greg Jackson, Janetta Warren, and some others tour as the Zapp Anthology, so keeping it alive. And with that, that wraps up another edition of On the One and Done. Special thanks to PTFI for providing the groovy theme music. Support the artists and musicians featured on this episode and all Funk Stuff channel programming by purchasing their recordings and attending their performances. So before we check out of here, some key questions for you. Drop it down in the comments. Where does this song rank in your all-time funk or Zapp Roger lists? Those other jams of Zapp and Roger could certainly make a case for being a favorite, even above More Bounce. Heartbreaker, I love. So Rough, So Tough, I'm crazy about. Definitely rival More Bounce. Where were you when you first heard More Bounce? It's such an unusual track. I bet you do remember where you were. Share it in the comments. Who do you feel influenced this song? Who do you feel is influenced by it? It had so much influence on hip-hop and funk that came after it. Can you think have been done to make this song even better? I would just say maybe some better lyrics, maybe. Is the only thing I can think of. But chime in and build this community, keep the funk alive. Also drop down in the comments what other songs you'd like featured on this program, because it's your show. Never forget that. I'm here for you. I'm like your puppet, your funk puppet. With that, until next time, this is Scott Dr. Jigs Goldfine saying, as always, keep on vibrating to the rhythm of the one.